So let's go back to our top story. Those 3 unscheduled Qantas landings in less than 24 hours, all due to technical issues. Tony Sheldon joins us now. He's the National Secretary of the Transport Workers Union. He's in Sydney. Tony Sheldon, good morning. Let's start with this latest incident on the Dallas-bound flight. What's your understanding of what happened on board?
Good morning, Michael. What appears that first of all, I think the flight crew need to be congratulated for the great work they've done. But it does appear that, of course, that there's been a serious incident that's occurred with the Dallas flight. And it does come back to a very important issue here, and that is that the company is just about to turn around its financial woes, but it can't be doing it at the cost of a successful airline. And of course, the Delta flight, is to Dallas is just one of now 3 examples that have occurred in a very short period of time.
So what are you saying there? The airline's not paying attention to proper procedures, maintenance on aircraft?
Look, I think there's a combination of things. Procedures and maintenance on aircraft, they've outsourced considerable amounts of work both within the country and outside. They've slashed the workforce to a point where they haven't got systems in place to properly deal with the issues that confront the airline. Now, the crew again need to be congratulated in all those 3 flights. But also it's critically important that Qantas engage with its workforce about how to make sure the airline's successful, because their futures are way beyond the tenure of any director of the board and quite possibly the chairman or anybody else that holds an executive position.
Let's go back to the first of these incidents. That's the flight, the Dubai flight that had to land because of issues with the air conditioning system. Is it your understanding that there was depressurisation in the cabin?
Well, the reports are that there was a comment allegedly made about depressurisation, and that's one of the reasons why there was a steep decline coming into the airport. Look, I think what's critically important, these matters will be properly investigated, the whole 3 matters. But what is these 3 incidents demonstrate, and that is the airline's under a lot of pressure organisationally, that it's one thing turning the company around, but it's another thing turning it where it actually flies into the ground. And the airline needs to engage with its workforce, because we want to make sure these planes, this airline, is successful into the future, and the company needs to have a strategy which actually engages for the future and make sure this airline is safe for all passengers and also the crews.
These are the incidents we're reporting, but Tony Sheldon, are you aware through your members of other in-flight incidents involving Qantas planes in the recent past?
Look, there's been concerns that have been raised with other airlines, but I've got to say this to the credit again of the pilots and the crews, that if there are serious matters on an airline, they do take immediate steps. But what we've seen happening is the company has, in the Jetstar operations, they've been outsourcing work to many overseas flight crews. Those crews have less rights to stand to say that there's something wrong with the airline, and the crew needs to be empowered, which the company needs to be actually engaging with the workforce to make sure that happens. And to this point, it's not, if you work for a labour hire company on a flight crew, then it can be extremely dangerous in these sorts of situations. I'm just pleased to say that the work that's been carried out by this direct hire crew has been very successful, and Qantas needs to engage with them and their labour force across their operations to make sure these matters are dealt with when a potential crisis could occur.
And you mentioned at the start of the interview Qantas's financial footing turning around quite spectacularly from a loss in the billions of dollars to an expected profit of up to $350 million this year. Qantas, any airline making a profit is good for everybody from the chief executive down to crew members, isn't it?
Well, certainly up until last year that many other airlines around the world had turned around their profitability, and I'm pleased to say that Qantas is doing that, but it also is a question of what cost and what systems they're putting in place. This is an airline not about profits, it's an airline about service and profits. It's an airline about making sure we deliver safe airspace and safe quality to the flying public and to those flight crews. So there's a combination of things here that need to be making sure the settings are right for the airline, and it is critically important that it isn't just quick fix profits at any cost, and the airline needs to engage very clearly with its workforce to make sure that the airline's successful, not just the next financial quarter or half-yearly report, but into the future.
Okay, Tony Sheldon from the Transport Workers Union. We'll leave it there. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Michael.